Good morning. It's Monday, y'all. So I want to say thank you for joining me on a Working Woman show. I hope that you had a really great weekend. And for me today, I am heading to a funeral. So I realize that there are people who maybe you have had a very difficult weekend. Either way, today we're going to start off by talking about joy. So we talked on the very first episode of a Working Woman show, we talked about the planner that I use and how it's just a PDF that I print off every day that I'm in the office, and at the very top it says today's word. So today's word for me, and I've told you all this, is a Bible verse. Oftentimes that's what mine is. The Bible verse that I have down for today, and I've got it written down up here, is Psalms 51:12. The verse says, "Restore to me the joy of my salvation." But the reason I'm sharing that with you today is because I believe that the Bible is true beginning to end. And in that verse, it says, "Restore to me the joy," which to me means and shows that, some people, it seems like they just wake up and they're happy, which happiness and joy is not the same thing. You can be joyful and be grieving. You can be joyful and there be anger also. They can exist at the same time. But when I think about joy, that's something we need to protect, our joy, our hope, the thing that keeps us going even when it's cloudy and it's Monday and maybe we had a crazy morning with our kids. We need that joy. But in order to keep our joy, we must fight for it. We must find it. I talked about on day one, look for things in your day that will help you focus on the positive, that will bring little moments of happiness, that will remind you of what's most important in the end. For me, I always share our kids' song of the day. Y'all, we've moved on from Nappy Roots. I'm so sad about that. But I'll play a little bit of Dante Bowie for us this morning. Joyful. The Odd Man, how are you? I'm so glad you're here. So I'll just play a clip of it. Don't come after me, Dante. I'm gonna be The song is upbeat. My kids loved it. They got out of the car saying, "I'm going to be joyful." And so I hope that for you today, that no matter what you're walking through, what season you're in, that something can help you. You can find something that will make you say, I can keep going. And we're talking about leadership on a Working Woman show. There are people who need you to keep going, who need you to show up and be joyful and be positive in a hard situation. So think about today. Many of you, most of you that watch this are already at work. So if you're listening to this right now, think about the people that are on your team. If you want to be an incredible leader of these people, how can you show that you are joyful and then inspire and spark and help them find their joy too? I'm going to give you some tips on how to do that towards the end. But Working Woman show, let's get down to some girl talk. So today, this is the first episode where I have worn my hair up, y'all, and I have it in, I'll just take it down. You'll see me looking ratchet. I have it in a clip. My very best friend, Megan, and I were talking about Gen Z and how they're bringing these some trends back. Some we like, some we don't like. And I'm telling y'all, I'm here for the clip. Man, it's easy. You somewhat look put together, maybe more from the side than from the front, but I'm here for the claw clips coming back. I'd love to know whether you listen to this at work or whether you listen to it later while you're walking or laying in bed. I'd love to know, are you here for the clip in the hair? I wrote down some other trends. Let me get my note. Some other trends that Gen Z, the young kids, are bringing back that I'm here for. Let's see. The bomber jacket. So the sporty looking jackets that kind of cut you off right here, I'm here for those. I love a good bomber jacket. Graphic tees and hats. Y'all remember the Von Dutch hats back in the day? I'm not all about that, but the ones that have the smiley face and stuff, Bieber has the Drew brand, all of that. I think that that's so cute. I love a graphic tee under a bomber jacket. I'm here for that. Now, this one is highly debatable. I know you would like that. Odd man. This one is debatable, or I guess this one I think could go either way. So for me, talking about high-waisted jeans versus low-rise jeans. And if you go onto the internet and you start looking up how people feel about this, people have some really strong opinions. You women, we as women have strong opinions about this. Here's what I think. High-waisted jeans. Number one, they make the backside look flat. I don't care how much you got going on back there. That's going to squish it, make it not look good. And then in the front, after having 4 kids, like, I got the fupa action going on. Ugh, I am not here for high-waisted jeans. I like the trend where you like tuck your shirt in the front, but I can't do that because then all of a sudden like my gut's all hanging out. So I'm here for the low-rise jeans. Now I get they can give you muffin top. I get it. But let me turn this music off. But if we start shopping for our right size, like, and get them where they don't squeeze us right there, then I could do the front tuck. So I have not found a good pair of low-rise jeans yet. I'm on the hunt. But if you know of a place that is selling low-rise jeans that you love or that you used to love, American Eagle is still my jam, but they're not making the low-rise jeans like I want. If you see them, send me a message. I'm on the hunt. The other one is mesh shirts. I'm here for the mesh shirts, like the see-through. Like I love a good see-through sleeve with a tank under it. I'm not trying to show any skin, but I love like a mesh shirt. Mesh shirt. I can't talk this morning. Remix. And finally, oversized sweatshirts. I love them. I have them. I'm here for that trend coming back. So when you watch this, I want you to comment or send me a message. What trends are you here for? Or maybe, like, what are some that you absolutely are saying, not happening, not buying, not going in on it? I will say this. I remember in high school when skinny jeans came out, when they started being a trend, and I was all into flare jeans, and I thought, there ain't no way I would ever wear a pair of those dorky skinny jeans. And now, that's all I own. So, I guess I should say never, but I'd love to hear from you all what trends you're loving and what you are not. And then, whether it's casual clothes or work clothes, I love to hear it all. All right, let's keep going. I told you all, we're talking about joy on a Working Woman show. We talk about how can we better lead ourselves and our team, the people who are counting on us. In one of our leadership training sessions, we call it the commandments and cardinal sins of leadership. So what leaders should do and should never, ever do. And today I'm sharing with you one of our cardinal sins, and that is being insensitive to the needs of others. As a leader, it's really important that we start putting other people before ourselves. I think about my husband and our marriage. He and I have taken our relationship to a whole nother level, and that started when he and I said to each other, I'm going to start making sure that I put you before me. When we were in our 20s, our early 20s, we said our vows, and we said all of those things like for better or worse, and I'm going to put you first. We said all of those things, but in our early 20s, we had no idea what that would actually mean when you throw kids and career and community and pressures into the mix. We didn't know what that meant. So 11 years into this, he and I have learned that we have to intentionally put each other first. And it changes the way that you interact with each other. It changes the way that you disagree. It changes the way that maybe arguments would happen. It changes the way you parent when you put people, someone else before yourself, before your own wants. Now, does that mean you totally lose yourself? Absolutely not. But it does mean that you care more about the well-being, the happiness of someone else than yourself. So think of it from a work perspective. How can you put your people before yourself? Because as a leader, we have that definition, and you'll hear me say this over and over because I want it to change the way that we live. Leadership is not position. So if you're watching this, like, say it out loud, like, burn it in your brain. Leadership is not position. I don't care if you are managing people, if you're supervising people. I don't care if you're on the front lines. I don't care if you are the CEO or if you're a stay-at-home mom. We all have the ability to lead if we are able to lead. So in whatever way someone needs served, if we're able to serve them in that way, whether they need knowledge, expertise, whether they need physical help, spiritual help, all of these, if we are able to serve, and then if we are willing to take action. So that means making a choice to say, okay, I can serve here. I'm going to do something about it. That is leadership. That is where you start building a relationship, a connection, and then you're able to influence other people. So I'm going to give you, 10 things leaders should always be sensitive to. So I told you this was a cardinal sin. So the cardinal sin is leaders should not be insensitive. So it's important that you show up and you care about your people. You care about your boss. You care about your employees. I feel like I heard it back whenever I first started my career, like, you have to leave personal stuff at home. That's not the world we live in anymore. We're mixing personal and professional life. It's work-life integration now, not work-life balance. So knowing that people are going to bring their personal stuff with them, even their work stuff with them, and it's going to affect how they think, how they work, whatever's going on, you must be sensitive. Choose to care about the people around you. Now, how do you show that you care? I've told you, I'm not this big picture, I want to talk in the clouds kind of person. I want to get really practical. So I'm going to give you 10 things that as a leader, you must be sensitive to. You must be aware of. You can't be oblivious to it. You can't forget about it. You need to do what it takes to make sure you're on the ball with this. If that means setting alarms on your phone, if it means putting reminders on your refrigerator, if it means writing on your bathroom mirror, if it means having things on your calendar that show up every year, that's what you need to do here. So, number 1, births and birthdays. You need to remember your employees when they have a baby. That's a life-changing moment. And then their birthday. People care whether they want a birthday party or anything like that. People will care that you remembered them on their birthday. I'll never forget the time that I forgot my absolute best friend's birthday. I have never forgotten her birthday since, but I will never forget the time that I did it. She and I were in a wedding. So we were with each other all day. And we did breakfast or brunch in the morning, and we did lunch, and then we had the afternoon wedding, and we had the reception. We were together all day. And then we even rode in the same car together all day. We were at the reception, and we were standing in line at the buffet, and her mom comes up and just hugs her from behind and says, "Oh, happy birthday." And I turned around like, what? And my friend is so sweet. You could tell immediately when I turned around and was like, that she had already realized I had not remembered her birthday. She did not say anything about it. She immediately started saying, "It's fine. Don't think about it. Don't worry about it." But I always say, you can read somebody's second face. It hurts if someone close to you doesn't remember it's your birthday. So as a leader, put that on your calendar. Make sure you don't forget. Make sure you're not the last one. Try to be the first one. Don't call them at midnight or anything. Wait till they get to work, but make sure you tell people happy birthday. Write them a note. Give them a gift. I will say that in the corporate world, one thing that I've seen done across many organizations is every employee gets the exact same gift. And while that's great, sometimes it can really seem like there's no heart or thought behind it. So go use your words to impact the people around you. Congratulate them if there's a new birth in their family. Congratulate them or wish them happy birthday if it is their birthday. Now, next one, death. So we've talked about the major life events, birth, and now we're talking about death. if someone on your team is experiencing a loss, it is critically important that you show up for them. Now you may think, but that's their personal life. Like, I have heard stories and I have seen instances where leaders didn't show up for a person who was experiencing death. What they might not in the moment think much about it, but as it comes up and you all continue to build a relationship, and there might come a time where they remember that, you weren't there for that. So think about what you want as a leader. You want your people to know that you care. Oftentimes, I've heard from people like, I don't want to go to the funeral home because I don't know what to say. It might be awkward. And what I've found from my own experience is that when we say things like this, like, I'm afraid it'll be awkward, or I don't know what to say, or I'm too nervous, then we're making it about us. As leaders, we have to put the other person ahead of ourselves. Think about any funeral that you've ever been at when maybe you've lost a family member or friend. You probably don't remember what every person said. But you can probably run a list in your mind of the faces, the people who just showed up. That's what people remember. So if there's a death on your team, if there is a death in someone's family, I want to encourage you today, make time to go to the funeral. Show up. Even if you feel awkward, even if you feel nervous, even if you don't know what to say, because that doesn't matter. In the end, it matters that your employee feels important, like they're important to you. Don't be insensitive to their need for that. So we've got birth, death, then we have hiring. So if someone acknowledge their hiring date, put that on your calendar. Hey, you've been here. We're good at doing it. Like, hey, you've been here 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. But what about year 7? Do they not matter on year 7? Like, don't just recognize the almost round numbers, the 5, 10, 15, 20. Recognize it every single year, because what if they didn't show up for year 7 or year 8 or year 3 or year 2? If they're a good employee, that will make things more difficult on you. Be the leader that shows up and recognize, hey, I'm so glad that you're here. That's all it takes. Just a few words, being intentional of showing them that, hey, you matter. You are important. And all of that in birth, in death, in hiring dates. That also works for promotion dates that they were promoted in the organization. When you show them they're important, that sparks joy. And when you become a leader who sparks joy, you start being attractive to people. You will gain more followers when you start making other people important, when you start making other people feel good. Next, so we've done birth, death, hiring, promotion. Next one is retired or fired. Now, if they've retired from your company, you may be thinking, well, why would I recognize that? Think about growing your network, your influence. Leadership should be about impacting lives. So I don't care if they're 75 or if they're 25. As a leader, if people have been put in your path, like, that's for a reason. Stay in touch. It gives you a reason to stay in touch at least once a year. Reach out to them every September 3rd or whatever they retired and say, hey, it was 3 years ago that you retired. How's life going? It gives you a reason to check in with them, and you keep that bond. You never know when they may need you or you may need them. The next one. Fired. Let me say this really quick. I'm not suggesting that you reach out to past employees that you fired, but I want you to think about this. What if you had a friend, and I think I've heard Bob Goff talk about this. I know I have. I heard it on a Bob Goff. I think that's his name. He's an author. He talked about it on a podcast with Craig Groeschel. He said, every year, I'm sorry if I misspoke that, but just think about people who get fired. Think about your friends. No, don't call your friends and be like, hey, Kendra, I saw that, or I remember 2 years ago you were fired on this day. How you doing? You don't want to be the person that reminds people of bad days. So when you think about if you put it on your calendar, hey, so-and-so was fired on this day, then maybe every year, they won't know it. Don't tell them why you're reaching out to them this day, but maybe you just reach out to them and say, hey, man, George, look how far you've come. Think about, how far you came since we were little, or how far you've come in the past few years, or whatever it is. Give them an opportunity to think back on the joy, the good things that have happened in your life. And putting that date of when they were fired on your calendar can allow you to spark joy in someone else. Next one. So we are on number 6 out of 10. Weddings. So many leaders don't remember their employees' wedding dates. Put that on your calendar. Like their anniversary, their wedding anniversary, that's a life-changing day. Put that on your calendar. Congratulate them on 1, 2, 7, 10, 25 years, whatever it is. Just be the leader who cares about what's going on in the lives of your employees. So we said weddings and anniversaries. That gets us to number 8, graduation. So whether they're graduating from college or a special program in your industry, banking school, whatever it is, make sure you recognize that whenever it's happening, but also for their kids. Hey, Shishi, if they have kids, Sheila's one who's great at this. People in their family who are graduating from high school or graduating from college, you don't have to buy them a gift or all of that, but just ask, how are your kids doing? I remember that they're graduating this year. Your employees just want to know that you care about them as a human being and not just what can I get out of you at work. Next one, illness, or the final 2, illness and injury. As a leader, when your employees call in sick, they're probably freaking out about calling in sick as much as you are freaking out about them not being there and how that's going to affect the day. It's important that you sort of shift your perspective from, how is this going to affect me? But man, how is this affecting that employee? Are they going to be okay? Did they break their ankle, or do they have a sick kid, or are they sick themselves? What are they going through? How can I help? Because we talked about leadership is serving others. So when they're sick, when they're hurt, when someone in their family is sick and hurt, how can you help? Maybe it's a word of encouragement. Maybe it's a casserole. Whatever it is, if you want to be a more impactful leader, you have to focus less on yourself, more on others. And some of those lessons I've learned the hard way. And I share these with you so that you don't have to also learn the hard way, but so that hopefully you can fast track your leadership career faster. So that's all we've got today on A Working Woman's Show. Again, it is my hope that you have a good day. I'll finish this off with some music. If there is anything that I can ever do to help you, please send me a message, shoot me an email, Alyson@vanhooser.com. If you want that planner, you can go to AlysonVanHooser.com. Scroll down. It's called Free Daily Success Planner. There you can stay more organized, print it off whatever day you want. If you mess up, you can just print another one. It's my favorite tool that I've created since I've started as an entrepreneur. I'm wishing you guys a great week, and I will see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.